Welcome. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore. We are Baltimore positive. I'll get all the plugs out. It's a short week, Kansas City. Luke's at the Owings Mills this week, and any breaking news will happen first on the WNST tech service. All of that brought to you by Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy. And I do have Raven scratch offs. They're kind of shimmery with the Mad thing. I hope they have better luck than the Ravens actually had on Monday night against the Detroit Lions. I am thrilled to have this next guest on. It's been a little while since he and I have wrapped up a game. I meant to have him on after the Cleveland game, but I was away and I came back and then I went away again. And I've been trying to travel to make, bad politics and weird things and football angst and baseball non-playoff activity all go away. But it's always nice to touch base with old friends. Dennis Koulatsos is still with Coons Ford Security Boulevard. People ask me about you. They're like, "Where's Dennis?" I'm like, "He's right here in my phone. You need his number? You can buy a car." Because I call you. My car's okay right now. But I miss you. I miss our Coons sponsorship. I miss chatting with you several times a week. And more than that, people want to know: is Dennis doing better than the Ravens?
For the moment, I'm doing better than they were Monday night, for sure, Nestor. A lot of hype heading into the game. Uh, great the pregame show with electronics. Jason Kelsey playing the saxophone, dressed in Ravens marching band gear. That was a lot of fun to see. But
I hope he has better behavior than Steve Smith.
oh my gosh, and or his brother. But it was clear early on these are not the same old Lions, Nestor. These are not an automatic W for any team that faces them. Dan Campbell has proven us to be a very good coach, a very good motivator. You can tell this team was fired up, came in with a chip on their shoulder, and just really bullied the Ravens, I guess, is the bottom line. They just had their way with them. They smacked them around on the offensive line and defensive line and really controlled the game from the opening whistle.
Well, it's funny you say that because I'm writing my headline. Fearless Lions came roaring into Ravens' den and bullied the bullies. That's one of our headlines at Baltimore Positive for Luke and I. And, you know, I don't even know where to begin with this, right? Like you and I haven't talked. I think we did a draft set piece together back during the draft time because you're a draft Nick. You love the draft. And I feel bad that I haven't had you on. I mean, I meant even to have preseason football sucks, right? Like, what is there even to say when they don't even get out on the field other than we hope they're healthy? Then Likely goes down. They lost our Darius Washington, all these things that have conspired to atrophy them to some degree. Then the Kyle Van Noy thing happens. Now, as we look at it, Matabike looks to be really problematic. If something is not announced in the coming days or hours by Adam Schefter or whatever. Humphrey looks gimpy, not right, older, whatever it is. The Derrick Henry fumbling problem, the running the ball problem that they're having, Lamar getting sacked, holding the ball, not looking to run, not having the space to run, uh, and not playing well against good teams. That really is. There was a point where they bullied teams. I remember beating the 49ers, beating these NFC teams, beat up the Lions 2 years ago like this. Going to see a different Kansas City team this week. Feels like a different Baltimore team to me 3 weeks in.
No doubt about it, Nestor. The wild thing is that one of these teams is going to be 1-3 at the conclusion of Sunday's matchup between the Ravens and the Chiefs, and that's not a hole you're going to be in. Not if you're planning on making the playoffs and having good seeding. But even Lamar Jackson didn't look right to me. I don't know if he was holding the ball too long. You can tell that from my vantage point, Zay Flowers kept taking his helmet off in the fourth quarter in frustration. He was open. Rashad Bateman is always open. And I don't know what Lamar was looking at. He threw an errant pass, I believe, in the second quarter. It should have been picked off, but wasn't. And so a lot of holes in the game. I also thought that their offense has become pretty predictable, particularly when you bring in Derrick Henry and number 84 in front of him to block for him. I thought the Lions did a better job. They were more creative and had a more attacking offense. So I think that a lot of work to be done. They've got to figure it out. And Patrick Ricard, I don't know how big of a factor he is in him missing from the team. But as you mentioned, Derrick Henry's lack of ball security 3 games in, that's got to be a great cause for concern. I mean, if the guy gets 15, 20 carries a game, you can't put the ball on the ground 3 times.
Listen, I'm as bullish on Derrick Henry as anyone. I mean, this goes back to you and me at trade deadlines 2, 3 years ago saying he would be a game changer for them. I still believe that. He's the only jersey I have in my closet, is a Derrick Henry jersey, literally. It's a Houston Oiler jersey, and I didn't mean to wear Honolulu blue in my Raskin Global shirt here. It's just kind of the way it came up. It's more periwinkle than Honolulu, but in the case of Derrick Henry, I'm still a believer. I'm not a believer in the offensive line right now. And to your point, scheme wise, the Ravens got out coached tremendously in the game. That double handoff at the line, I mean, 4th and 3 going over the top to St. John, just the balls to go 4th and 3 on the road. The calm with which Jared Goff plays the game versus the frenetic energy of guys throwing helmets on the sideline, and you're mentioning helmets off for Zay Flowers. I didn't even notice that. I don't know if you know or not. They don't want me at the stadium seeing what they're doing, so they've thrown me out of the little Kevin Byrne press box in the corner. So I don't see all of that, those things that I used to see in the stadium, that I just see the television broadcast now like everyone else. And the thing I see like anyone else is Ravens football was built on the line of scrimmage. I mean, I know you're svelte these days, but you were once a lineman, as I understand at EVT, and did your line work on, but play both sides of the ball. I was a lineman on the Dundalk Owls, opening blocks for John Rollo, if you can believe that.
Wow.
I didn't make weight one time at Patapsco, but this is when I was, 1978. I was 10 years old. But line play and understanding the importance of line play, and you'll appreciate the fact that I spent last Saturday with members of the Sack Pack. I was
Okay.
actually with Dutton. I was with Joe Ehrman last week. So I understand pressure on the quarterback and what that means, as well as what it means for an offensive line that has been for this franchise in recent years. Going back to Ryan Jensen and Walker and those guys that went off to other places and got paid, they're fly by the seat of their pants with this offensive line. Beyond the draft, Linderbaum and drafting in the second round last year, the Washington kid. uh, it's not a place where they invest the offensive line.
Well, there's only about four in the NFL, right? Teams that want to physically dominate you. I certainly
Say
put the
that again,
Ravens.
because you broke up on me.
Oh,
You said
sorry.
there's only
5 or 6 what I call muscle teams in the NFL,
sure.
teams that'll come in and pound you and try to be more physical than you. Certainly the Ravens are one of those teams, but definitely the Lions, as they showcased Monday night, are definitely one of those teams. They were better at it at bully ball than the Ravens. And the Buffalo Bills are the same way. You look at their trenches, the way that they're built. The Eagles, all these teams that are Super Bowl front runners, they're bullies.
Well, the problem with the Chiefs is they haven't been built that way the last couple of years, right?
Right, and they're paying a price for it. What you like to your point, you've got to invest assets in your offensive, defensive lines. Clearly, the Lions have done that, and you combine that with the great coaching scheme and aggressive coaching scheme. And riddle me this, Nestor. Late in the game, when the Ravens scored uh, to make it 38-30, why did they go for 2 point conversion? I didn't get that in that moment. What was there to gain by making a by making or missing a 2 point conversion versus get the extra point and then your onside kick? I question a lot of things that they do, but that was one of them that really stood out.
The 4th and 9 punt. Where are you on that?
Ah,
4 minutes left. You're going to give them the ball. They got the ball
yeah,
back.
yeah. You know what? They made the right decision. I think they just didn't execute. They failed to execute, but it
I
was
don't know where your
clear.
confidence level would be on a 4th and 9 with the game on
It,
the
it
line.
it wouldn't. I mean, it just wasn't, which I think is why they punted. I think they made some mistakes in the past. I mean, certainly made a mistakes giving the Bills the ball back with a few minutes to go and relying on their defense, not realizing their defense couldn't stop a sieve. But again, there's been questionable play calling. They've been all over the place. They've got to figure it out. They've got to get an identity going again. And just because they're missing Matabiki and Kyle Van Noy, that doesn't give them the excuse that that's the reason why they lost, Nestor.
Well, there is something to be said about your best players not being on the field. And last year, if they had nothing else going for them, they were injury free for the most part, got most of the horses to the courses. And now that we make this turn, life without Matabike for the season, to think about that, or to even think about it this week, life without him, they look like a different football team. And the fact that the pass rush without Van Noy wouldn't be as good, and where we are with Owe or where we are with Mike Green or where we are with a Jabo or anybody else that could get after the quarterback, it feels like that's not just a Lions problem. It feels like that's going to be their problem right now, that the defense and that front seven and what it means for Roquan Smith and no Matta BK. Patrick Queen's not coming back in the door. Ray Lewis isn't coming back in the door. But what that front seven has been, it looked really problematic to me on Monday night. And it looks like this is not one of those things that's going to take care of itself as you see CJ Stroud next week and you see Matt Stafford the week after that. I am worried about their defensive front seven at this point without Matabike and both running into and rushing the passer.
Yeah, I think we all are, Nestor. If they can't get pressure on the quarterback with four men, they have to blitz, which exposes the secondary, right? That's not an ideal situation you want to put your defense in. I had the pleasure of meeting Mike Green. He's a fine young man, but he's young. He's wrong. He's raw. It's going to take him some time to develop. But really, the biggest problem, though, is the interior of the line. I mean, where's Travis Jones in this thing? They need to go back and watch film and figure out who got blown out and why. Is it a technique problem? Is it a scheme problem? What do they have to do to get better? Because they have a short week to prepare for the Chiefs. That's an absolute right there.
Might have been a Panay Sewell problem.
May, maybe they. I'm telling you, man, they got pushed all over the place. Even Roquan. I mean, I'm seeing Roquan get pushed 5, 6, 7 yards downfield. I mean, they couldn't keep him clean.
Well, been a tough week around here. Dennis Koulatsos, hey, you're selling cars. You still selling cars? What's going on out there?
Still selling cars, still chopping wood here every day at Coons Ford of Baltimore. Still taking care of our friends in our community, and it's great that we do a lot of repeat and referral business, just like WNST does.
Well, I'm trying to repeat and referral, but I don't want to repeat Monday night. Certainly don't want to repeat the Orioles season and all of that. Where are you on Lamar's maturation and all of this, that his best skills and the showcasing that you want to do with him, it is a symphony. It's an orchestra. And as much as when they get behind, it still feels like he wants to put the Superman cape on and go in the phone booth and play the role of the hero. I am worried about the components around him on the offensive line because the running game has to be better. Ball security, obviously, but even ball security aside, the level of success that they've had now over two football games plus a quarter is problematic. And I hope they get Likely back. Positive signs. Mark Andrews came back to life. Positive signs. You and I have not had a conversation about DeAndre Hopkins being a part of this, but still a weapon that they certainly could utilize. And Lamar's legs as a weapon versus Lamar as this pocket passer who's getting caged in and sacked.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar in the first two games looked like an MVP candidate, not so much against the Lions. What do we attribute that to? Well, one thing is too the Detroit Lions, their time of possession. I mean, they had the ball for I think 20 minutes in the first half alone. The best weapon, the best way to keep Lamar Jackson in check is to keep him on the bench, and that's exactly what happened. So maybe when he gets in the game, his internal clock speeds up. He feels like he has to make a play, but he just didn't look right Monday night, Nestor. And so the other piece is he said that the Lions did a good job of caging him. They had a spy assigned to him. Well, if you have a spy assigned to the quarterback, then you're playing on 11 on 11 football, which means that somebody should be open. You have man coverage downfield, and I think Lamar did miss receivers routinely downfield for whatever reason. He just didn't see him.
And Zay Flowers wasn't a factor in the game the way you'd want to get the ball in his hands, right? Just get the
No,
ball in his hands somehow.
no, and he just like Bateman. They're open more often than they're covered, and he has such great weapons. You talk about D Hop, you talk about the tight ends. I mean, Charlie Kohler showed up Monday night. He has weapons he can distribute the ball to, but to me, maybe perhaps it's more scheme that was the problem, along with the lack of physicality from the offensive line in the loss to the Lions.
Dennis Koulatsos rejoining us for a little football chatter here in advance of trying to change the mojo around here. They won a lot of games when Dennis was here every week. They're heading to Kansas City this weekend for the barbecue. Den Monday Night Football, black jerseys, Ray Lewis statue and all that. You touch the foot and Johnny U, and we're going in and we're doing all of that. I have my Colts memories from last week. We celebrated the 75 Colts. I talked to Lydell for a half an hour. It was a thrill. Roger Carr shook my hand. It was unbelievable. Never met Roger Carr in my life. All the years of going to Ravens games, sitting in the first row, section 513, seat 6 and 7 and looking down, and how many times I would see the ass of a quarterback on the 3 yard line, 5 yard line, crowds crazy, right where Ray danced, right in that end zone, and back to the end zone, and then the next time it'd be incomplete, into the line, incomplete. Punter lines up trying to figure out how not to get blocked or have a safety in our end zone. We're breathing down on them. I can't remember being in that end zone, seeing somebody start at the 1.5 yard line, and 11 and a half minutes later
Mm.
be having a touchdown on the other end on a Monday Night Football game in a packed house. And the Let's Go Lions chants at the end of the game.
Oh, it
There were
wasn't
just a
just at the end of
lot
the
of
game.
bad things happened on Monday night for me.
They chanted not only at the end of the game, Nestor. They were chanting the entire time. I was surprised by how many Lions fans that I saw. They were there. They were there in numbers, and they were very vocal. I mean, they had a defense chant going a couple of times that you couldn't hear on TV. I mean, they were very, very vocal. And of course, as the Ravens fans exited late in the game, they became more vocal, or their voices became louder.
Once you go backwards 98 and a half yards and you know that the team has the capability of doing that, and then you can't stop it, that's how they got 2 touchdowns behind.
Well, they did to us what we do to teams, right? And watching a team run for 225 yards on you, it's like watching paint dry. It's just very painful. It's just, yeah, they're beating you with paper cuts, and of course, then they bust the long ones, right? That's what happens. You pound, 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 and you break one. It's what the Ravens do, and it was just a reversal of fortunes Monday night.
Kansas City. I mean, we think of them as being a diminished version of themselves. Certainly, the 1-2 record would speak to that. I think the trophy's in the case when you walk in from the minute you land there in a football environment. The lack of success there in a general sense that it's a tough place to play. Ravens are 2.5 point favorite this week.
Oh, you're
So
kidding.
no. So
They shouldn't be. Put it to you that way. That's what I've seen.
well, they're 2.5 to make you laugh. There's your enticement there. I don't know what the enticement would be, but the vibe is that Monday's a bad beat. You wash it out. I don't know. I watched the game. I saw a lot of bad vital signs beyond Derrick Henry fumbling because I'd still give him the ball 99 out of 100 times. I'm fine with Derrick. Yeah, I'll give him the ball again. I'm good. If he's going to fumble 16 games in a row, I'll give him the ball every week because that's how they're going to win. They're going to win with Derrick Henry. They're not going to hide Derrick Henry. I don't know about the running part of the Lamar game. I don't know about this offensive line and play calling for Monken to say, we got guys here that we can only do so much with. We're a little limited with the offensive line with Falele and with what we want to expose them to and where we can be successful in running the football. But week one, Buffalo, they're pulling guards, they're pulling tackles, they're getting out, they're getting lead blockers, they're getting the ball into Zay Flowers' hands. Um, but a pitch out to Derrick Henry at the goal line and having him throw a jump ball, get a
Uh,
$50 million. I mean, just some really bizarre things that happened on Monday night, Dennis.
Yeah, again, I would recommend that they leave Henry by himself in the backfield. Anytime you bring in the fullback, you signal to the defense which side of the field they're going to run. They didn't run any misdirection. There was no creativity whatsoever. So if they have to put Derrick Henry in a position to be successful versus putting a fullback in front of him. And if the fullback's on the right side of the field, that's where they're running. From the left side of the field, that's where they stack the box. That's where they're running. That's why he's gaining 1 or 2 yards a carry. He'll break one once in the blue moon, but they've got to give the man an opportunity to excel.
Well,
And
the misdirection, the sleight of hand of Lamar, and that
yeah,
Lamar might run left, and Derrick Henry might run right, and Zay Flowers, he may eat the ball and hit Zay Flowers on a crossing route that goes 82 yards, and and they have that explosive ability, right? Like they have that ability, quick strike, one play. They have a running back that can do that. but the blocking up front. I mean, and I always say alignment, assignment, technique,
Yep.
alignment, assignment. That's fine. They're getting their ass beat. So, and that's not even technique. It's not alignment, assignment, or technique. That's literally you're just getting beat. You can be in all of
Uh,
those positions. They've gotten manhandled up front, and I don't like that. I don't like the 30 something left tackle. I don't think Linderbaum's 100%. I certainly know Marlon Humphrey's not 100%. The Nixon bumps on this team right now make them vulnerable. And if they come out and they slap around Kansas City on Sunday, God bless them. It's good. They're 2-2. They'll get where they need to be. But this becomes like this is as big a September football game as they've had around here in a long, long time.
You know what? They better get some rest, get some ice in the tub, and then they better hit the weight room, eat some big ribeye, T-bone steaks, some cowboy steaks, and beef up and get stronger as the week goes along and nurse themselves back to health. Come up with a good game plan, punch the Chiefs in the mouth, and be the more physical team, which they weren't on Monday night, and they paid a price for it.
All right, Dennis, I'm going to get off the beaten path here with you. I know you're not out on Facebook monitoring, everything I'm doing, but my wife and I went away over the weekend. First time we traveled together in a little while because I'm not doing these football trips. So I'm a little antsy, to go do some things. I went to the Hollywood Bowl. I know you always are, as a fellow Tony Robbins kind of guy, you're always telling me to pursue my American dream, like my Raskin Global shirt on. So the Hollywood Bowl was on my bucket list, and the Who played, and Aerosmith. It was an unbelievable show. So we
Nice.
went out west, and here's something I did. And my buddy Thomas Dolby has talked to me about this because he has a driverless car. Car drives itself. We got one of those Waymos. We were in LA and we saw him driving around with the little whirly bird on the top. We're like, oh, it's driverless car. Look at that. So I feel like I'm in an episode of the Jetsons, right?
Yep.
And we decided to do it no matter what the cost was. We were like, you know what? If it's a limo cost, we're going to take a short ride to breakfast. And if it costs $25 to go to breakfast, we're going to suck it up because it's like going to the Sphere. It's like doing something that you can only do, right? Turns out I learned a lot about you. Have you ever taken a driverless car?
I have not and probably will not.
What's wrong with you? Why
I'm not,
not?
look, I'm old school, man. I got to have my hand on the wheel. I
No,
mean,
no, but
I'll,
you get in cabs, you get in buses, you get
yeah,
on planes.
but there's people driving these things,
You trust people?
machines. I do. Over mach over machines.
Have
Look,
you met people other than me? I know you
my
trust me.
my Ford F-150 had Blue Cruise, which is hands-free, and I love it. But it does give me the ability to put my hands back on the steering wheel if need be.
What is that? Whoa, 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 whoa. You're just dropping gimmicky
Yeah.
gadgetry Ford
It,
Motor Company. Wait, it has what?
Yeah, it's called
Blue.
Blue Cruise, and what happens is it changes lanes by itself. I mean, it just drives you to your destination. But it also does once in a while recommend you put your hands back on the steering wheel when traffic gets a little dicey. So I like to have both worlds. I like to have the ability for the vehicle to be driverless, but also to drive it. So I'm not ready to trust just a machine to drive
Well, yeah,
itself,
hold on.
although
If
they
you
are pretty
like the
reliable.
ability for it to be driverless, you're not anti-driverless, right?
It's like an airplane, right? I'm not going to get on an airplane without a pilot, right? But once the airplanes take off, they're an autopilot, right? But at some point, you have to switch off the autopilot and take control of it, which is why being capable of correcting a machine's fault.
So we get in this thing, and it was more inexpensive than we compared. It was cheaper than taking an Uber or Lyft, right?
I can
And
tell
we
you like the experience, so I can tell that you really enjoyed it.
well, we watched them in LA, and we said, well, we had a car in LA, so we didn't need one in LA. So we saw them, and we got to Phoenix, and I was in Atlanta about 6 months ago, and I'm walking by on the Georgia Tech campus, and a little robot came by me. It looked like a dog. It was a
Mm,
small little object with a flag on it and a camera. It was a little thing. It was delivering tacos to someone on campus.
that's
It it
crazy.
it, it was a little wagon driving up on the sidewalk,
Yeah.
navigating, and it was tacos. It was a taco delivery on campus. So like it's only one time I've seen that. I haven't seen the driverless cars, so we saw it. And my wife's doing the same thing you're doing. Like, I don't know, I might be that. I don't know if I'd feel safe. So we landed in Phoenix, and in the morning we were going to breakfast. We were at the airport, 7 in the morning. I thought it was going to cost a lot of money. I just thought like this is an exclusive. This is going to be like getting a limo. It's going to be like Uber Black. The $12 ride is going to be $32 to go get breakfast, and I don't want to do that. So we were going to go over to Tempe, and they were having that memorial rally in Arizona. So like a lot of the roads were closed off and all that was going on. My eighth grade English teacher was trying to have breakfast with me. I couldn't get to her. So my wife looks it up. It came to the hotel. We were staying in a loft, and it took us down a boulevard past Arizona State. We went right past the stadium where I
Okay.
saw Neil O'Donnell throw the pick, where I saw Trent Dilfer take over the Ravens, so Sun Devil Stadium on the backside, and it was 7:30 in the morning. We're going out for breakfast. There weren't a lot of cars. It didn't get on the highway, and it drives the speed limit,
Okay.
35 miles an hour. It's going 35 miles an hour. So we got in it and we Facebook Live because we felt so sexy. It's 7 in the morning. We're there, got a coffee, and we're going through. The car's immaculate. No one's driving, and we started talking to our snooze. We were flirting with the waitress that was, she was bringing us coffee and whatnot. We're like, we took one of these cars. She's like, yeah, nobody around here takes. She's a college student. Nobody takes them. They go slow. They don't get on the highway. And I'm
Okay.
thinking, so they're safer. So every single thing that they do is safer than the jack wagon that we hired as an Uber driver 8 years ago in Phoenix that smelled like whatever that episode of BBO was with Seinfeld. This was the worst smelling human I have ever been in a vehicle with, and he was our Uber driver. And he picked us up in Phoenix in 2007, 16, 17
Hmm.
Super Bowl. And my wife and I still talk about like that's the Uber driver you do not want. So this car was a Jaguar. It was immaculate.
Wow.
It was silent. You had musical options in the back seat. It said don't touch the wheel. We know like if I want to get intimate with my wife in the back seat, I know I'm being videotaped, right? So I'm not stealing anything. I'm not you feel a little bit like you're being watched, but it's kind of nice and pleasant, and it feels like a shuttle ride. Um it doesn't talk to you or anything, but it did say hello, Jennifer, when it picked her up. It had her name
Okay.
on the lights when it picked her up. It only would unlock the door for her. The app unlocked the door of the
Let's
car.
see. Our kids went out in LA a couple of months ago, and they took one of those vehicles. And our daughter's boyfriend, he's a little rambunctious, so he opened up the door. He cracked the door open, and he closed it real quick because he wanted to see what would happen. And somebody over the speaker said, "Is everything okay?" We noticed the door was opened. So they are monitoring you 100% of the time.
It's AI monitor, I'm sure, but
Uh-huh.
well, it does talk to you. It says you're here, welcome, hello. It's very space age. So we took it. We got out. We felt it was a little weird, but it was like I almost wanted to talk to the driver that didn't exist because I always flirt with my Uber driver because I'm a
Right.
talker. I talk to everybody, just especially when I'm away from home. I
Now,
tend to be a lot more gregarious when I'm in an airport in El Paso than I am, I don't know, with DeSantis having a pizza. You know what I mean?
now the question I have for you is, did you leave a tip?
You don't have to tip. So that's the other part. So here's what happened. We were chatting with this young lady who was our server, and she said nobody takes these. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, so it's cheaper, a little slower. It's safer, Dennis. Here's what I'm going to tell you. We took it over to Carolinas to get Tex-Mex tacos. If you're ever in Phoenix, drop me a note. I'll send you some good places. So on the other side of the airport, 3.2 miles. It was a $10 Waymo ride. So we got another Waymo. We get in it and we're going the other side of the airport. and it was a quiet kind of area near the car rental area near the airport where we were going. So there wasn't a lot of activity. It's not a residential area per se, more industrial kind of sort of by the airport. And we were going on a very quiet, it was literally an industrial road. And someone was driving a car and like you mentioned your maybe future son-in-law jimmied the door to see what would happen.
Yep.
Someone gassed out on our Waymo to like pretend it was going to hit it. In other words, just left the stop sign a little early, accelerated into the intersection. The Waymo just slowed down, moved, went around it, and it didn't get spooked the way like if you were driving and someone pulled that ish, you might get out and have a fight. You know what I mean? Like this was something they did to jimmy our car because we were in a driverless car to see what would happen. And I even watched it. Like they looked like they were going to come out and hit us and T-bone us. The car responded to it
Okay.
favorably, much
Okay.
more favorably than a driver would. And I'm going to give you the last thing in that you told me 8 minutes ago you would never take, you still would never get in one of these.
I wouldn't say never, but you know what? There's a time and place for everything, and not to get way too off track. We were at a Turkish restaurant in town about a year ago, and we were brought a meal by a robot. I mean, this thing just came to our table with our food on
I
it,
had
which
one of those in
was
Canada at an Asian joint two
it's
years
wild,
ago.
isn't it? Just a wild experience. You're like, okay, you take your food off the tray, you put it in front of you, and then it leaves. I don't
It
know.
was like the Jetsons waiter, right? Like
The Jetsons, I Robot in a creepy kind of a way. That was a creepy movie anyway, but I hope that's not a preview of coming attractions anyway.
this was not creepy at all. And I like I'm doing a whole thing with you because you sell cars, Dennis. Here's where I was on it. And I'm not BSing you, okay? Like I'm being really honest. It goes slower, it doesn't go on the highway, so high speed accidents wouldn't happen. Now, we took it over to Carolinas, and then from Carolinas, we were going to Scottsdale to go day drinking. It's 103 degrees. And I knew it wouldn't get on the highway. So it was just going to take. So if I got it in Delaney Valley Road and I went downtown, it wouldn't take 83. It would take York Road.
Hmm.
It would take Bering Parkway. It would
Right.
go 45 or 55. It just doesn't get on freeways, right? So it takes a little longer to get there. I swear to you that if on Saturday night I could go see the Black Crows in Woodstock, New York, and you had a car, you had that car, that specific Jaguar that was nice or a nice Ford that I could just get in the back seat, take my laptop and get in the car and it would take Pulaski Highway, right? Instead of I-81 through Scranton. It would just take me through the Amish country up through, and I would have a perfectly pleasant 55-mile-an-hour road up and down the hills of Amish country. And I wouldn't have to drive. And when the show's over in the dark, get in the back seat, take a nap on the way, be like a limo driver without the limo. I'm telling you,
Okay.
I felt completely safe. And I felt like it was not only that, it was almost like more sensible. Like human error is a thing. I know you
Oh,
know
it's a
this.
huge thing, of course. And then you also minimize road rage. I mean, what are you going to get at Meta, a driverless car?
No, if nobody drove and they all drove themselves, you wouldn't have jackasses driving 80 miles an
Yeah,
hour
it's true.
racing either, right?
Very true.
So like
Very
I
true.
looked at it and I thought, Dennis, I remember holding this phone up for Ed Hale, who's running for governor 20 years ago, and I tried to explain to him. I remember holding this phone up for Steve Bisciotti, who told me I don't type. I'm like, I'll get people to do that. I'm like, no, you won't, because you won't be able to communicate with humans. I tried to explain that. Steve Bisciotti doesn't have a lot of emotional intelligence, apparently, but I tried to explain to him. I was trying to explain to people technology and Facebook and MySpace. You were my sponsor, and I said we're going to have a web page, and we're going to stream our radio. One day we'll Zoom and Jetsons each other. I'm telling you, the driverless car thing, above and beyond seeing the Hollywood Bowl, spending great time with my wife, visiting with people I liked, having memorable experiences. That driverless car weirded me out, and I thought of you. And I
Okay.
thought, when you have a car that I could come over and I would never have to drive it, and I'm not afraid of it, and here's the last thing. I wanted to leave you with this. We're rolling around like a Phoenix ghetto in a $120,000 Jaguar, right? Like really nice. And we're in the back seat. We don't have a driver. We don't have a gun. Everybody in Arizona's got a gun. Just ask around. So I'm thinking like safety wise, carjacking wise, all of those things that you would think about in a city. Would this thing avoid neighborhoods I would be afraid of getting shot in, or what? I'm thinking to myself, what could be safer than being in a car that's got cameras literally everywhere? Who would carjack that? Who would screw with it? Who would get in it? Who would screw with it inside other than your future son-in-law trying to jimmy the door? But you're being videoed, you're being surveilled the entire time. I'm thinking like it's probably a pretty safe way to ride around Baltimore if I had a $120,000 car with, and I would never have to drive it. It would be easier to insure probably because it wouldn't make bad decisions to make accidents. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud globally about the idea of it and how the Waymo people make money on it. It was a paradigm shift for me, which is why I'm even discussing it with you more than the Ravens game right now.
I'll tell you this, Nestor, in regards to safety, when I go downtown, I Uber. If somebody wants to take, I have no attachment to it whatsoever. So that's one safeguard that I use in my travels in downtown Baltimore, which is infrequent.
Yeah, we drove down Sunday night. I don't feel that way about Baltimore. I lived in
I know you
downtown.
did.
I don't feel that way at all. I don't watch Fox 45. I follow the murder rate. I talk to yeah, I follow my nose, and I've spent time in the city lately, a lot of time. City's getting better. There's
Okay,
no
well, good.
question in my mind about that. It's getting cleaner. It's getting better. Is it perfect? No. But I went down Sunday night, saw Yankees fans everywhere. It was a pickle fest. I went to see Yacht Rock. We parked on the street. No problem. Well lit. People everywhere. People were moving around at 10 o'clock on
Good.
a Sunday night. It felt it, again, I was in LA on the worst parts of LA. I was in Phoenix, driving around Scottsdale, nice areas, other areas in a driverless car. The driverless car in Phoenix took me through this amazing little desert that sits to the east of where you would take the 101 to Scottsdale. I Because it didn't take that, it took us through this beautiful botanical garden and a zoo. And I'm like, I'm telling you, when you're in the driverless car the first time, think of me. All right,
Okay.
just think of me,
You,
Dan.
you should do a commercial for these people. You do a good job with it.
I would buy it tomorrow as a premium item so that I would never have to drive again.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're not quite there yet. That's an industry, the automotive industry, but we're getting close. We're
And the
very
reason
close.
for that is productivity. It's not
Yep.
any other thing. I'm not a podcast listener in the car. I listen to music when I'm in the car. I don't talk. My mom's dead, so I don't get to talk to her anymore because I don't call my kid in the car and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Like when I'm driving, it feels like wasted time to me, And
Okay.
that was the part that for me, that's why Steve Bisciotti had a driver. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't waste his time. That's why important people have limos so they can get work done and file things in the back seat. So I always thought of it like that's why people fly first class, I think, other than to get their feet rubbed and get service or whatever. But I feel like productivity was the issue for me, as well as to your point, safety. So I went through crime, driving, all of that, because I'm a safety first guy. You know this about me, right? Like I'm a survivor, fight or flight. Like, is this safe? Is this dumb? Is this a bad decision? Is this going to cost me? And I felt the same way about getting in that car the first time. I thought this is a lot smarter than I thought it was 20 minutes ago when I began the conversation with you. And I just wanted to point that out because I think you're going to be selling these cars.
Well, it's weird until it's not, right? So I always say what's chaos for the fly is normal for the spider. So it all depends on your viewpoint.
Dennis,
So
I made fun of Ed Hale and Steve Bisciotti, rich guys about technology. Here, let me make fun of myself. The first time my kid sent me a thing on my phone that had a little envelope on the top, and I opened it, I'm like, the hell is this? He's like, that's a text, Dad. That's what the kids do. I'm like,
yeah,
don't text me. I will never text with you. You call me. Okay. When you show that you care about your father, you call. By the way, his 41st birthday was yesterday. You call me.
happy birthday to him.
Now at this point, like that's how old man I was at 38 when I
Yeah.
told him I will never text with you. And now at 57, I'm trying to I'm telling you, I got my first driverless car. This is a thing.
Well, talking is still superior to texting. You and I know that, right? Things get lost translation with text, email, etc.
I want to give a nod because I was away. I went to Dodger Stadium, which is lovely. Everyone should see a concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and everyone should see a baseball game at Dodger Stadium. That's all I'm saying. And everyone should put their feet in the Pacific Ocean at some point too. But that's neither here nor there. But these are bucket list things to do. And Janet Marie Smith, the who should be in the Oriole Hall of Fame for sure. She should be in the and Baseball Hall of Fame at Cooperstown for sure. She built Camden Yards, remodeled and saved Fenway Park, and has made Dodger Stadium loverly. We went out. She got me tickets. We're there. Clayton Kershaw doing our whole thing. My wife said when we left, she said, I want Janet Marie's address. I'm like, well, here's her text number. She's like, no, no, no. I'm going to write her a handwritten thank you, and I'm going to send it with a stamp in an envelope. And I'm like, good for you. So there, all
Absolutely.
right?
Old school still works, Nestor. It's the best way to communicate.
Dennis Koulatsos, tell them how you sell cars. Old school, right? Come on
Hey
out and
man,
see you.
old school, come out and see me. Rates are just dropping. They just cut the rates. Great specials, great leasing deal. Leasing has come back in a big way. That's where the best deals are right now. Coonsford, Baltimore, 400 new vehicles in stock, 200 pre-loved. Come out and see us. 410-218-0337 is the number.
Can you lease me a car that drives itself for Saturday night? So, or even if I would, you know what I would do? I would make it take me to Ocean City for Ocean's Calling because
Yeah.
I don't want to drive down, right? So I make it take me down on the back roads, right? No problem. It would drive 50. It would that thing would it would drive Route 50. It just wouldn't drive 95.
Well, we can
So
sell you a vehicle right now, Nestor, that will drive you part-time by itself, not full-time though.
does
Part-time.
it who decides when I drive and when it drives?
You do. You have
What if
control.
I don't want to drive? Does it just
Uh
get to Easton and stop and say I don't
you
want to drive you
you
anymore and you got to
you
drive?
you have to be involved. The decisions are yours. You have full control.
I don't want any responsibilities. I have an FCC license. You know how tough that is these days?
I hear you.
Dennis Koulatsos is here. He's over Coons Ford, Baltimore, giving me a chance to use my wisdom and sense of humor and my quick wit. I need that this week. We all need a sense of humor. The Ravens are 1-2. Luke has no sense of humor about any of this. He's out in Owings Mills right now. All of it will be brought to you by our friends at Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy when you get that WNST tech service update that Dennis is waiting for on updates on Namdi Matabike, as well as Kyle Van Noy, Marlon Humphrey. Just go through the list here. Short week, big stakes. I didn't even mean to say that. Big barbecue, too. Kansas City, Baltimore positive. Stay with us.